Moving on, we'd like to introduce our local unit historian who's going to talk about the history of our Hellcat right behind us here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ron Fleishman.
Okay. Anybody ever rescue a cat? Okay. How many people, Jody, how many people have cats at home? Okay. Great. So if you've rescued a cat, or they showed up on your doorstep, that's a good idea of how this gal came about. Hellcat N1078 Zulu was a stray. As a matter of fact, the FAA doesn't even call it a regular Grumman. They call it an SNS Special Grumman F6F. And what we know about the airplane, it kind of showed up in a junkyard in a place called Fergus Falls, Minnesota in 1961. Like the cats that you guys rescued, we don't know the history. Someone had the data plate and the Grumman construction number plate gone. That's what it looked like. Okay? It was rescued by a fellow named John Sandberg. If you know air racing, John Sandberg was an air racer, he was an engine rebuilder. He rescued the airplane. He took it. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk, and then we'll show the slides because they're not in order, unfortunately. So forgive me for that. He took the airplane. It became, his daughter said, a rather bad airplane. At the time, they looked on the airport in '61 and said it was a bad airplane. The data plate was missing. And what he decided to do to it, couldn't make up his mind. It was either going to be a photo airplane or we're going to make an air racer out of it. So they clipped the wings, 7 inches from each panel. The intercooler openings, the columns were filled. A lot of Bondo, a lot of stuff. He played with it for about 12 years, from 1961 to about 1970. During the time it was painted red, then it was painted black. Then he flipped it over on an emergency landing. I guess by 1963 or 76, around that period, decided enough was enough. Took it down to Texas. Lloyd Nolan, who was then the leader of the CAF, bought it for $20,000 and then sold it to Ed Messick with the stipulation that it stayed in the CAF. At this time, this 12-year project to restore this thing, there was all kinds of problems wrong with it. The fuel tanks were delaminating, it needed a new engine. In its time, it's had 3 engines. There were hydraulic problems, the tires were bad. But they played with it, and they flew it for a while with the CAF. It was painted up in the paint scheme for DF12 from Randolph. And they changed the markings again to Lieutenant Francis Fleming's VF16 markings circa 1943. We moved from Harlingen up to Midland. And a gentleman named Joe Mabey jumped on and said he would restore the airplane. So he took the airplane up to his ranch, and this became a 12-year project. They found out at that time, for starters, the wings were still clipped, although the tips fit where they clipped the wings. There were liberal amounts of Bondo. The flaps worked, when they worked asymmetrically. Not the way you want to go. The oil cooler door, the cowl flaps were bolted shut. The oil cooler shutter was bolted open. The hydraulic system needed a complete rebuild, and the tubing was bad. And as one guy said, all the electrical wiring on it had been heat treated, which means that they gave it the sizzle check and it didn't quite pass. Additionally, the main and tail wheel tires were gouged, the hinge mechanisms holding the wings were corroded, and generally it was an old airplane with 40 years worth of dents and dings hidden by bondage. And the entire horizontal stabilizer was loose, rattling around about a ½ inch when we flew the airplane. So Joe started on the airplane. He's going to make a Concord, the Elegance airplane out of it, so it took a while. When they were ready to turn it in, to take it back down to the CAF and fly it to the air show, got hit by a truck, right square in the tail. So back to square one, and redo the airplane. David Price stepped in around this time in October of 1995 with the fund. You know, David Price, museum flying, helped start Oaks Christian School. Been very, very generous to the CAF, our wing in particular. Somewhere around the early 2000s, the CAF Southern California wing got the airplane. At that point, we started seeing internet things, talking about our guys working on the airplane, Chris Russi flying the airplane, guys back from overseas deployment from the Guard turning wrenches on the airplane, and now the airplane is the way you see it today. If your rescue cat, you don't let it out at night because it's going to tangle with something, correct? And then you got to nurse it back to health. A couple of years back, we took this airplane to Reno. It tangled with 2 trucks and ended up with the engine pulled off and all kind of body work and stuff had to be done. As a matter of fact, they're not on there now, but the FAA authorized us on the Victory markings beside David McNeil's 30 markings to paint 2 pickup trucks. So we did have 2 pickup trucks on the side of the airplane. So now we have it. It flies quite well. It'll fly for the air show that we have coming up in August 2021. So now what I'm going to do, just want to flip through it. I'll tell you what we got here. That's Fergus Falls. That's the black scheme that they had. Okay. Notice the propeller with that crazy spinner on it. This is probably right after they drug it out of Fergus Falls. Kind of good. I apologize for these slides not being in order. Did the emergency landing, put it over on its back. I think it's in the black paint scheme now. You can see it was red and it was black. Probably right after, before they painted it. Those are circa 61, 62, all those pictures. As you can see, this cat was in rough shape when they went to rescue it. That's the red paint scheme laying on his back. John got tired of the airplane and got interested in the P-63. Yeah, it's on back, it's in the red paint scheme. It's probably a Harlingen picture, but it looks like it has a full complement of instruments. Kind of the shape that the cockpit was in. This picture's from '78, I believe. That's the early Navy markings they had on it, the blue over white. It had an engine change, like notice the propeller and the spinner in that picture. Flew like this for the longest time for the CAF on Harlingen and Midland. That's a '78 picture. Another '78 picture. Probably after an engine change and the proper color and spinner on it. And that's a picture that I just happened to find. The airplane in the background is our C-46 that's out there. And the B-25 was the first. Now we have several B-25s aggressive in it. That airplane's called Rowdy's Raiders. It's the first airplane that the CAF used. We used to have a group called Confederate 1st Airborne. And they went to drop guys out of this airplane and they couldn't figure out how to do it. So they said, well, you guys just stand in the bomb bay and we'll just open the doors. They did it once and they never did it again. Still one more. Yeah, that's Harlingen, Texas. That's the old fighter hangar. That's right after it was bought by Lloyd Nolan. That's it. Thank you very much. And our stray cat has a good home, and I hope your stray cats do too.